Let's switch gears into sales and getting ready to sell your art. Have you ever asked yourself or wondered why most of the artists you know around you are not making money or not making the money they want to make? What is the reason? I love asking questions. I ask them of me. Am I selling enough? Am I making what I want? What I found with artists is that besides wanting other people to sell their art because it might seem easier or better, the biggest reasons that creatives do not sell their own art is because, number one, they don't know how. Number two, they've been burned out or unsuccessful with it in the past. They don't want to get hurt again. So they feel very vulnerable. They haven't had much luck, so they just kind of give up. And there's a lot of mental fear around failure in selling. They feel like, I've learned this, that artists sometimes feel like selling their art is selling out. And that's a mindset. And I would ask you to get really curious. Do you have a mindset around sales that might be actually holding you back from selling your art? There's so much psychology when you get vulnerable and you're sharing your art and you get to the point, what I call asking for the sale, where people never ask for it or they go in the other direction. And sometimes even hurt the sale because someone's waiting for them to ask or the next step. So these are all very important things to start thinking about for you personally. Where do you land in this area? Why do you think, if you're not making the money that you want to make, what do you think the reason is? How are you approaching this area in your career? And let me just share with you what I learned quickly was I was trying to sell art and I was getting a lot of no's and no responses. I realized that I needed to work on this area. It's a skill set that you can build and get better at through practicing and trial and error. It's like building a muscle. The more you do it, the better you get at it. There are all these different tools that I've learned over the years from salespeople and other industries. When I sell art, I don't feel like I'm being a salesperson. I feel like I'm being someone connecting with someone who loves art. So I use that word salesperson, and some of you might cringe, but I don't consider myself that. I am someone that's passionate about selling art. I love connecting with eager buyers that love art and sharing to get them to the point of sale and interest. So I learned that I needed to start analyzing every interaction I was having with people. And it was tedious at the time. And my top sales tip is called Monday morning quarterbacking. Again, there's another sports reference, but have you ever turned on the TV or maybe a partner in your life on a Monday and you see everyone sitting around talking about the game on Sunday and what went well, what didn't go well, what the player should have done, what they didn't do, what the result was, all the stats. I started doing that to myself every time I had a conversation with a client or a sales interaction that not only went well, but that didn't go well. I would analyze what I said, what I did, their body language, my body language, how I felt, how I showed them something, what felt awkward or what went weird. You know, sometimes when you're showing art in the studio, things happen. Maybe your cat knocks over a painting or someone's knocking on your door, your phone's ringing. There are lots of things that can go wrong or be weird. I was analyzing why I thought people decided to buy a work of art or why they didn't decide to buy it. I took that further down the road and I actually started asking for feedback. Wow, you really seem to have liked that painting. Why are you not buying it? Why did you decide not to buy it? And then I would get interesting feedback. Well, we went home and we measured the wall and discovered that the wall is not big enough. Oh, okay. Well, what size wall do you have? And I realized there was an opportunity to further this dialogue to learn and understand what their need was. Well, we actually discovered that we need something smaller. We need a 30-inch painting and not a 60-inch painting. I literally just had this happen with someone where they really liked a work of art that they saw, I actually asked them if I could hold it aside for them. They said yes. They were going to go home and just double check. And then I didn't hear back from them. So I called them and they didn't answer. I left a message. And then they texted me back. And then we discovered that they had a wall that was not as big as they thought it was in their mind. So now they need something smaller. But had I not asked for that feedback, I wouldn't have learned that. A lot of times artists get stuck. Oh, well, they just didn't like it. Maybe it was the price. I don't know. My whole thing is get clear and know. And it's professional and polite for people to give each other feedback. And you'll hear a lot of different things, but that's going to teach you what you need to do next and how to approach the client and keep working with them and what their needs might be. I've actually had a lot of commission work come out of this Monday morning quarterbacking where I'm asking for feedback. And maybe a client does a complete 180 and changes their mind, and they don't realize that the artist will do a commission for them because it's not really clear on my website. We don't promote that, but we will promote it if that's a need. So I would recommend, and if you want to challenge yourself, go through what's happened for you over the last year to year and a half through your email interactions, if you've had any phone calls with people, if you've done marketing that hasn't resulted in very much. Start getting feedback directly from people or from your audience and just see what they have to say about it. And you'll learn quite a bit. And what you'll learn will help you get to the next step. I had someone, I've shared this before. Some of you might have heard the story. We did an art fair one year in Miami, and I spent probably an hour talking to someone in our booth. And I was certain he was going to buy a work of art by an artist. And, at the end of a conversation, I said, so what do you think? And he's like, it's not for me. I'm just not feeling it. And I said, okay, well, can I add you to our email list to send you occasional newsletters? And he said, absolutely, please do. So I put him on our email list. We send out between 4 to 6 quality newsletters a year. And he was on my list for close to 10 years. And guess what? He finally saw something he liked and he bought it. And through that interaction, he shared with me that he rarely finds art that he loves. He has to love it enough to buy it. It took him 10 years. And he finally found something he loved that I was sharing through my marketing that he loved. So some of this might be a long game. I tell artists it's a marathon with building these relationships and building your list. It's not a sprint, but you have to do it and try to get active and curious and ask questions and try out this Monday morning quarterbacking. If any of you have tried it already, feel free to share in the chat. Anything that's come out of, getting feedback with clients or even with gallery owners.